Uh, the culture of Brazil versus the culture of Colombia. I'm going to hit on these points here. Um, and I'm going to do it in this order too. So I suppose you can pause the video and you want to go to another one. Now, uh, one thing I want to hit on off the bat is you're all of these things you're gonna it's gonna say, well, Brazil is better, Brazil is better, and the answer is because Brazil overall does have a better culture. Okay, but that begs the question, well, why the heck are you in Colombia right now? And the answer to that is mainly because my visa ran out, right? You've got 6 months on each place, and my visa ran out, so I came back to Barranquilla. But it's not only because of that, okay? You probably say, well, you could have really worked at a digital nomad visa and all that business and blah, blah, blah. Right. Well, here's the deal. There are Colombia has some real virtues for me. Am I, for whatever reason, at my age or what have you, I get slightly better women. I don't know why exactly, but I get. You may have speculations, me too, but I'm not going to go into them. I get slightly better women in Colombia. They're just slightly, I don't know. So I would have stayed in Brazil, but I'm going to go back there if things don't. If I were to marry a girl here in Barranquilla, I would stay in Barranquilla. Okay, and another virtue that Barranquilla has is it's a 2 hour and 40 minute flight, right? Okay, so let's get into these things here. Where is my list? All right. Well, first of all, let's start with there is more envy in uh, Colombia than Brazil. You can just feel it. There's more, and I don't mean just towards me. Just generally in society, there's an issue with that. Brazilians are less envious. Um, and that is you can see that you can see it come up all over the place. All right, another thing, Brazilians tend to lie less. Brazilians are less sneaky and tricky. I always encounter here in Colombia, little tricky little things they'll try that they, for example, well, just today I was in a cab and some guy started. I indicated I'm not interested in prostitutes, and yet he said, no, no, they're not prostitutes, and this, that, and the other. And he even showed me a picture, and he's continually trying to wheedle me this. Well, and I said, okay, well, then fine. Yo quiero preguntar algo. ¿Cuánto cuesta? And he said, well, depende. And it's like, all right, man, shut up. Shut up. You're going to waste all that time just to kind of engage in some weird little um, shiftiness, just to maybe scam a little bit of money out of it. So they do that less in Brazil. Of course, they do it here and there, but it's noticeably less. They lie less in Brazil. They deceive less in Brazil. Okay, there's more trickery and scammy little games that they play in Colombia. In Brazil, they may rob you, but they're going to come straight to your face as a man, as it were, and say, hey, give me your stuff, and that's it, right? Period. So, in Brazil, they treat you more like an individual. There's less of this gringo stuff, right? They're kind of, and here's an instance where I noticed the envy coming towards me. You could call it envy. No, it's collect. It's best to speak about it just in terms of this kind of groupish collectivist mentality. In Brazil, they do will kind of treat you. Oh, you're who are you? You're just another person there. You're not necessary. You're a person first, a foreigner second. But in Colombia, it's, oh, here's the foreigner. He's a guest, and I'm the host, and there's all sorts of baloney that comes along with that, and I don't like it. It's more class-based sort of thinking. I don't really like that. So again, I'm not saying that this is these are differences at the margin, right? Where, okay, Brazil may also do that, I'm well aware, but these are general differences, okay? Whereas relative to Colombia, you'll find X or Y trait less, all right? And as an expat, a foreigner living there, you may be interested in these things. So it feels more the good things that you like in America, you will find in Brazil. Kind of the open gregariousness, you'll find a bit more. They are. I'm not saying people aren't friendly in Colombia, but it's not the same kind of friendliness. Um, all right, so dating culture. Now, one thing to note is when I was 31 and 32 living in Rio de Janeiro, I did a lot better with the women than now as a 52-year-old man. Okay? That shouldn't surprise you. So, on this point, I would I kind of think that Colombia might be a little better. Okay? The dating culture is one where I believe they accept age differences more um, in Colombia than in Brazil. Okay, so you're going to notice that. Now, also, I think that Colombian women may overall, in fact, be better, more attractive as women on some way than Brazilian women. Um, you may disagree with me on that. Now, here's one thing. In Colombia, these chicks are really scammy. They're more scammy. This is one thing I want to really highlight here. The chicks in Brazil are less scammy. Okay? The chicks in Brazil, if they like you, you're going to know it, and it's going to be pretty smooth sailing, and things are going to be more honest. Ooh, in Colombia, they play little tricks. All right. I mean, just recently, uh, I remember um, there's some girl, and I was gonna meet her, and she kept making excuse after excuse, and she would do this and do that. And in Brazil, they don't really do that. They kind of will follow through on what they plan to do. I would, if I were gonna, I would never, I'm not in the business of loaning anybody money, but if I were gonna loan money to a Brazilian chick or a Colombian chick, I would definitely choose the Brazilian chick over the Colombian chick. Um, yeah. And the Colombian chicks will try little ways of saying, oh no, I need to get this from you or that from you. And Brazilian chicks do that too. Again, these are relative differences, right? They're differences at the margin. Um, but they're sufficiently um, pronounced that I think they're worth mentioning, and you'll notice them. Um, so a Brazilian girl, sometimes they're very honest and direct and nice. I've had, this last trip to Brazil, I had this one chick. She said, "Hey, well, let's go out, and we'll sleep together at the end of the night, and I'll have a good time." And that's exactly what happened. That was all there was to it, which I very much appreciated. Just the very, yeah. Um, okay, now here's the solution. Now, this isn't a discussion of differences, but this is a solution to this weaseliness you find in uh, Colombian women. I'm going to give you an example. Okay. I recently was dating this chick I didn't sleep with her or anything, but I did. I went out with her enough times that it was, we met in different places, and she was coming from Sabana Grande, all the way up here to Barranquilla, and so she had to spend a little money to get up there. So what I would do is I'd meet her, but I wouldn't give her the money to help her with the transport until she had actually already gotten up there, right? And I gave her like the equivalent of about 7 or 8 books each way because I knew it was going to cost her that. All right, and I know she would take a public kind of a collective cab or a little bus that's and then up and around here or up and around here, and then she'd get in a taxi for the rest. She'd get one in here, and have her all the way go up there. So I do this all the time now. This is the way you meet them, is that you go to a place because they might not show up, and if they're not going to show up, then at the least you can go do some grocery shopping, or maybe you needed to go to an ATM, and you're always in the top third, right, of Barranquilla. You're always in the top third, and that way, if their weaseliness shows up, you have lost no time. All right, and it also means that, yeah, okay. So don't pay money if they're in another city or something. Don't send them money for you to come. And here's the reason: there are too many of them that are scam artists that are just trying to get you to do that. And here's why the scam works. The scam works because 1 out of 3 times it's completely genuine and honest, and you'll send her $20 by Western Union or whatever way you want to do it, and she will come. All right. And so then you see it happen once, but then there's so many of them doing that. I've had it happen twice where I send them money, not much money, 20 or $30 off to a little city nearby so they can get to see you, and then they're gone. Okay. And two is enough for me. Okay. So there are more bookstores in Brazil, noticeably more than Colombia. Noticeably more. The educational level of Colombia is higher. Brazil is higher. Okay, it just is. Now, I wouldn't say that on a pound for pound basis, Colombians are less intelligent than Brazilians. Nope. But overall, there's sort of some percentage of the population down there in Brazil that they're just more educated in a modern way than Colombians. And like I say, I think that bookstores, I don't know, however many percentage of the amount of bookstores per square mile, you could probably tell a lot about a country just in that. And nobody likes to just read PDFs. Nobody likes to just read things on Kindle, because educated people absolutely are still buying real print books made on paper. Okay. There are some idiots out there. You'll hear them say, "Oh, nobody goes to bookstores anymore. Those are the things of the past." Well, no, that's wrong, Mr. Idiot. That is wrong. So, generally, the infrastructure is better. You'll find roads are built better, etc. Salaries are slightly higher in Brazil, and other things, they're just more expensive. So, essentially, the effect on culture is what you would think that it would be. Because I would say Brazil's economy is maybe, I don't know, 20% more developed than Colombia's 25%. Now, obviously, I'm well aware of the fact that here, this part of Brazil is far more educated and much more wealthy than this part of Brazil. okay, than this part of Brazil here. Now, this part of Brazil here has much better weather. Okay, up in here, the weather is far better than down here. Okay, it's also better than Rio de Janeiro. You may not know that, but you will know it. You'll find out. And so the Brazilians themselves go up to Fortaleza all the time, and it's also cheaper up here. Okay, it's cheaper. But even in a place like Fortaleza, I can see very clearly that it's a step up from Colombia. Okay. Um, Also, for me, I like the language of Brazil more for whatever reason. The spoken language is something that resonates with me. It's more intelligible. I think the words are more distinct for some reason. Um, and it has some, I get, what is the, Brazil has more soft power, more attractiveness for me than Colombia, without a doubt. But it's not a wash, but it's almost a wash. I mean, it's if you look at all the factors, I'd say that it's almost a wash. It's pretty close. I like Colombia. I like being Colombia, and I haven't found anywhere in Brazil that has weather as good as Barranquilla. I can say that much. So, alrighty.